going on, everyone? It's great to have you. Today we're going to be talking about some feminine leaning fragrances that I myself can definitely recommend to you. And honestly, I actually like wearing some of them sometimes because sometimes it's nice to take a break from the really overly sweet and just kind of darker men's stuff that's out there, a lot of the designer stuff, and I really have a soft spot in my heart for some florals as well. So if you're the 7% of my audience who's not a dude, or if you want something that's slightly feminine leaning, this video is for you. So stick around, make yourself comfortable, and let's jump right in. Welcome everyone to the channel. It's so great to have you. I'm Eli with Common Sense. So let's start off the video strong. This first one is going to be a cheapie, and I love this one myself. I've worn it many times, and I actually wore this one on my birthday. It's great for outings, and it's great for when you want to just smell slightly gourmand and really lactonic and slightly milky. So this one is going to be Lattafa Eclaire. Now this one, for some reason, always just makes me smile whenever I smell it. It's got an incredible musky opening. It's slightly salty, but it also has a very gourmand quality about it. It smells kind of lactonic, almost like a whipped cream vibe, and I think the ladies are definitely gonna love this one, and I myself love smelling this on other people as well. This one is going to be a twist on Bianco Latte, but it lasts a long time, and it has a nice, sweet, slightly spiced cinnamon vibe to it. So it almost reminds me a little bit of horchata. So if you like that nice vanillic, creamy fragrance, then this is gonna be perfect at around that $40 mark. And that one is Lattafa Eclaire. Now, next up is going to be a beautiful aquatic syrupy sweet fragrance. Now, this one is a little bit more floral than it is sweet, but it's got just the right amount of sweetness in it that makes it really, really mouth-watering. This one is Ayat Jealousy. So this is going to be a twist on Louis Vuitton's, I think it was Métier Noir. This one is going to have that really interesting black currant syrup. It's going to be very aquatic. It's got some cyclamen, I believe, and some really nice aquatic florals in there, and some rose that just make it smell really, really mouth-watering, aquatic, and just a nice touch of that floral quality. But there's also some really nice earthy notes in here that give it some depth. So it almost smells like a dark, wet wood combined with some nice green tones, and it just smells absolutely heavenly. So if you want something that's similar to like a Dior floral fragrance, but with a little bit more depth, tiny bit of agar wood, and almost like a petrichor vibe, then this is going to be perfect for about 25 bucks. This one is Ayat Jealousy. Now, if you have a little bit of cash lying around, this one is going to be great because it's very high quality. It comes from the Middle East, it comes from Oman, and a really great niche fragrance house. This one is called Amouage Lineage, and this one and Amouage Search, the men's one, are some of my two favorite Amouage fragrances of all time. So despite being in the women's kind of presentation in the bottle, this one I think is more for the confident woman who likes darker and slightly more resinous fragrances. So this has a ton of frankincense, myrrh, olibanum, some saffron, and I believe it also has some Peruvian pepper. I immediately think of the Drake and Josh episode of the Peruvian puff pepper in the salsa. Man, this one has such an interesting, slightly incensey, smoky vibe, but it's got just a very alluring and intriguing quality. So if you want the guys or anybody just to come around you, smell it and think, oh man, there's some mystique and some mystery to this person, then I think you'll definitely want to go with this one. And this stuff is nuclear. It lasts probably a good 14 hours or so. It just sticks around and lasts like crazy in the air, making yourself smell absolutely incredible. So that one is Amouage Lineage. Again, it's for the slightly more adventurous person, but I think you'll definitely enjoy it and get people talking about you. Now, this next one is in the completely opposite direction. It is a crowd pleaser. It's going to be very aquatic, salty, and just very, very easy to wear, slightly soapy. This one is Un Jardin sur la Lagune by Hermes. So this bottle is really cool, and it's one of my first fragrances that I bought that wasn't a guy's fragrance, but I still think that, you know, as long as it smells good and you like wearing it, you can wear whatever the heck you want. But this one to me just smells absolutely incredible. It's got some mouth-watering florals in there. It's got a sweet and oceanic quality to it. So I remember the story about this one was, I think it was named after the Garden of Eden, which was not necessarily the one from the Bible, but it was just just a really hidden away, just sacred garden on the cliff sides, I think in Italy. It's been a while since I've read the story, but it smells very floral. It's got a sweet kind of spring quality to it. It's got a nice musk, and again, it's got like a salty driftwood, but it just smells absolutely incredible. And it's perfect for if you spray it right out of the shower, because it'll make you smell really, really pleasing. So this one is Un Jardin sur la Lagune by Hermes. Now the next one, this one is going to be very sweet. It's going to be perfect for the summer and the springtime. So this one is by the house of Memo, Paris, and this one is Sintra. Now, I myself really like this one. I don't wear it all too much just because I feel like it does come off a little bit more feminine, and it's a little bit cloying if you do too many sprays. So really, I'd recommend doing this in the springtime and maybe just one spray in the summer. But this is a really cool, just creamy, fruity fragrance, and it smells very tropical. And so it's also got a nice green backbone to it. So it's like some petitgrain, slightly bitter green herbal tones in here, but it just smells like a marshmallowy, fruity blast in the opening. And it just smells incredible when you walk by somebody. You have that scent trail behind you. And I feel like if somebody wore this out in public, I would ask them for sure what the heck they were wearing, because it's just got that inviting quality. It's sweet, but at the same time, it's fruity, tropical, and it's got a nice bit of that green muskiness to it. Again, this one is going to be super, super strong. It kind of reminds me of the beach because, again, it's very creamy. It's got that slightly white, waxy floral, almost like sunscreen. And it's got a little bit of like a coconutty vibe, I feel like. But really fun stuff. I imagine, just wearing this if you're walking on like the boardwalk or something. That's exactly what I think of when I smell this fragrance. And that one is Memo Sintra. Now, next up is a wonderful fragrance for $20. I highly recommend it for anyone. And I myself, again, love wearing this one out of the shower because it's so aquatic and soapy. So this one, I believe they changed the name, but this one was originally called Maison Alhambra's Grise. And it's now called something else very similar, but it's that same bottle that definitely looks like the Gris Dior bottle. But this one is going to be very similar to Ayat Jealousy, where it has that mouth-watering, just nice rose in there, the aquatic tones. And this one, I feel like it still has that slightly aquatic and kind of earthy vibe. But again, the Ayat Jealousy, I think it's got more of an incense and slightly just darker patchouli. But this one is a nice, wet, aquatic rose, and it just smells absolutely amazing. And anybody who wants to smell just clean, soapy, fresh out of the shower, and again, like that nice classy Dior rose and floral style of a fragrance, I think this is a great choice. And I remember this stuff, it lasts a really long time. This is a 10-hour fragrance, and if you do about 4 or 5 sprays, it'll last you all day. Spray it in your hair, spray it in your car. You're gonna want to smell like this wherever you go. And that one is Maison Alhambra's Grise, or whatever the heck they call it nowadays. Now this next one is a really great presentation. It looks like a niche fragrance, and it's from the house of Swiss Arabian. This is from their Cities collection, and I did a video up here where I talked about 3 of the 4 fragrances. I couldn't find the opulence of Dubai, but I did talk about this one, and I really like how this one smells. So this one is going to be an extrait de parfum re-release, a new presentation, a new packaging of the original Swiss Arabian Casablanca. Now this one to me just smells like a really nice fruity vibe. It's kind of sweet, and it's got a really interesting tart floral note up top. And what's kind of creating that tart note up top is the grape, and they also have like what's almost like a green apple vibe in my opinion. It's very musky, it's got some ambery warm qualities to it, but I actually really dig that grape. And I know this may not be for everyone, but I think it definitely has a nice mature quality to it. And again, I think if you're somebody who's very confident, you like to smell unique, I think this is going to be a great fragrance. And it lasts like crazy because again, this is an extrait de parfum. As you can see, the juice itself is very, very dark, and it lasts a really, really long time. Yeah, kind of balsamic and tart and fruity from that grape and the apple, but it's also got a nice bit of vanilla and some ambery kind of musky tones in the base. But this stuff is really, really nice, and it feels and smells very high quality. And that one is from Swiss Arabian, and that is the essence of Casablanca, extrait de parfum. Now next up, we're looking at a really underrated fragrance. It's been around for a while, but it is still really great nonetheless. This one is Maison Alhambra's Infiniti Rose, and this is going to be a nice affordable twist on Initio's Atomic Rose. So when I smell this one, I immediately get a blast of that rose up top, and it smells very green and slightly aquatic. And I actually prefer this one over the Lattafa Body Al Oud Amethyst. I think this one is really nice in itself, but I feel like there's almost like a raspberry note in this. It's a little bit more fruity and jammy than the Infiniti Rose, but I just love this stuff. And if you like the style of fragrance that is the Parfums de Marly Delina or Delina exclusive, I think this one is going to be more up your alley. Again, I feel like it's a mix between the Atomic Rose and the Delina. But man, does this stuff smell incredible. It's high quality smelling. It's got that nice kind of syrupy, jammy rose, but at the same time, it's got some green and earthy tones underneath it that really do just make it smell very intriguing. It's got like a peppery quality. And so it's just a very peppery rose with a really nice premium smell to it. So it doesn't smell like a cheap women's fragrance or something you just grab at Ross, you know. It just smells like it has some quality and some depth to it. Plus it's a really nice, affordable fragrance, a nice hefty bottle, and you know, it's got some weight to it. Not to mention it performs like crazy. It has a huge scent bubble around you whenever you walk anywhere, so people are going to notice you. And you know, if you're all about loud fragrances and really good smelling fragrances at that, then definitely get this one. Get Infiniti Rose by Maison Alhambra. Now our second to last fragrance is a designer. It's like a niche designer, if you will. This one is from Tom Ford, and this is Tom Ford Ombre Leather. I know they have the Tom Ford Ombre Leather Parfum, and I feel like that one adds a little bit more musk, but this stuff is incredible. This is one of my first designer fragrances that I ever bought, like over $100, and I'm very proud of it. This one is for people who love the smell of a nice, rich black leather, and it also has a nice bit of jasmine in there. So the jasmine and the leather make it smell like a nice, freshly waxed leather. It almost smells like a leather purse, if you will, or just like nice leather boots. It was funny because I remember when I first smelled this, I was like, oh, it does not get any more manly than this. This is the epitome of masculinity. It's dark, it's leather, it's bad boy. But I remember when I asked some of my female friends at the time, they were like, you know what? This kind of smells a little bit more feminine leading. I think if you're a confident woman who kind of does her own thing, goes to concerts and just wears like all black and just has a really confident presence around you, then I think this one is going to be perfect for you. This is kind of like the rock star fragrance. And that one is Tom Ford Ombre Leather. And last but not least, this one is definitely more expensive, but I think it is worth every penny. I've talked about it a couple times, but it is fantastic nonetheless. This one is from the House of Fragrance du Bois, and this one is Cavort. So this is going to be a sweater fragrance. If you have a nice cashmere sweater, or just, you know, you're spending a Sunday evening in, it's real cozy, you're cuddling up with your significant other, this is going to be perfect for that. This one is a very intriguing rose fragrance. It's also got a nice bit of ylang-ylang and some cinnamon spice and sandalwood. So it's going to be creamy, waxy, but at the same time very rose dominant. So it's going to be floral, slightly jammy, and a little bit smoky. But I think the kind of smoky rose combined with some of that cinnamon and those really nice creamy woody undertones, I think it makes for a fantastic fragrance. And it's also got a really hefty dose of musk in the opening and also the dry down. But if you like something that's very unique and it's super long lasting, like this stuff is nuclear. You just do a few sprays and it will last you probably a good 14 or 15 hours like this stuff lasts. And I feel like you go nose blind to it. So don't be fooled if you do spray it and you're thinking about an hour later, oh, it's kind of died down. You're definitely nose blind because it's so strong, but it's really good stuff. It's intoxicating. It's like a drug. But that one is Fragrance du Bois Cavort. So there we have it, 10 fragrances that are more feminine leaning and for the ladies out there. And again, I appreciate all of you checking out the channel, even though I do primarily cover guys fragrances. I love y'all. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you have an amazing week. I'm Eli with Common Sense, and until the next time, bye-bye.